welcome back. Just before the break, we talked about Shanti's question, which is a nice question, but I think what's making it difficult is whoever set this question kept on changing what restrictions we were working on. So you had been asked to draw this graph from minus 90 to plus 180, and now what they were doing to you is they wanted you to solve, and we had got as far as that, for minus 90 to plus 90. So all we would do now is we go along to this and we'd say, right, the first solution would happen when k is 0. If k is 0, do you agree with me that the x would have been minus 60? Of course, and then if k was 1, we would get 300 degrees, which is not in this restriction. And over here, we would go along to this. Oh, good. Shanti, I believe you're back with us. Shanti, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear me.
Good, good. Have you managed to follow up till now? Have you been following okay up till now? Because I know we lost each other for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm busy generating the solutions off that. So if I go over here and I say k is 0, do you agree with me? The first possibility would be 20 degrees. Now, if I took k as 1, I would have 20 minus 120, so it would be minus 100 degrees, which is not in this restriction. And if I took 20 and I added 120, I'd have 140, which is also not in the restriction. So in terms of your second part of your question, those are your two answers. But now, Shanti, I want us to go up to the graph and have a look at how accurately we drew it. In fact, I think we did very, very well for a freehand sketch. There's the first solution, and you can see, look at that, it's spot on, it's 60 degrees. And over here, it's there. And if you take it down, you see that that looks pretty much like almost 20 degrees, so it wasn't a bad draw at all.
Yeah.
So that was good. And obviously, this must be the 140 degrees, which we weren't asked to find, but it would have been the next solution I would have got if I'd worked out 20 plus 120.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I think what's mean, and I've just said that now, and hopefully you could hear us at that time, that whoever set this question kept changing the restrictions. Now that makes it hard because you've got to be conscious the whole time where you are working on the graph. So your question C says the following. It says use your graph to determine the value of x where f of x is greater than equal to g of x. But now they are mean. They say x an element of 0 to 180 degrees. So they're again changing the restrictions. So it's very mean because they're making you stay on top of your game here. So that's 0 to 180. And what does it mean if I say to you f of x greater than g of x?
F of x must be in top of g of
On
x.
top of, yes. It means that f of x, oh gosh, I forgot to change my pen back to a normal pen. F of x is above or equal to g of x because they have got that equal sign there. So that's why we need to add this in. But you're quite right, f must be on top of g. So let's go to our graph, and remember we're only interested in this yellow portion. When is the f graph, which is the black graph, above the g, which is the blue graph?
Okay, yeah, I can see greater than 20.
Yes, you can see it there now. Hey, there it is.
Yeah.
To there. Now you see how it helped me to actually highlight the part of the axis I'm looking at so that I focused my attention away from this bit. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. And you know, you get some wonderful little things. You can get crayons that you can rub out and all sorts of things to help you. But it does help to do that kind of thing. Even if you had a rough sketch somewhere and you did that, it would just help you to focus on what's important. So right, how would we describe that then? Shanti, how would you describe that from here to here? Remember, we worked out just now that this was actually 20 degrees.
Okay.
And we worked out that this was 140 degrees.
Okay, I could say x is greater or equals to and less than.
Equal to, perfect.
Equal to 180, 140.
And that would be from 20 to 140. Perfectly all right like that. You could have also gone this route, the interval notation route. It's really a choice. I know lots of people prefer the set builder, which is perfect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Or you can go that route. So either of those ways of writing your answer would have been absolutely fine. But mean that they're changing those restrictions. However, they're not finished with you yet because now they're going to again change the restrictions and ask you another question. So let's look at your question D. Okay, it says determine the values of x for which g of x is less than naught. Okay, which means, and they've got there in brackets negative. Okay, that was kind of them. They needn't have done that. And is increasing. Now that's the little trick. What do I mean when something is increasing?
I don't get the point.
All right, let's talk about, yeah, it's quite confusing. Have you done calculus obviously at school yet?
Yeah.
Right, so when we use the term increasing in calculus, what did I actually mean?
Increasing.
Okay, think back to a calculus curve that would have looked like that. Where would it have been increasing?
Okay, the curve is,
And
the curve, the
there.
curve is,
And there. In other words, when it is going uphill or it has positive gradients.
Yeah.
So this means slanting upwards, or you could use positive gradient. I think it's easy to work with positive gradients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this graph and I'm going to start first with saying, where is g of x negative? So let's take a highlighter, and I think I'll use the green one now. Well, g of x is the blue graph. If it's negative, it means it's under the x-axis, isn't it? So do you agree with me? It would be there, and it would be there. That's where it would be negative. Now, after I've highlighted that, the next question I would ask is on that green section. So that's what I've done here. On that green section, where is it a positive gradient? So now I'd go back here, and I'd say, right, if I look at this section, is that a positive gradient? Is it going uphill?
That part is positive gradient.
It is going up here. Then here, no, you agree, because that's going downhill. And then it would go uphill here. See, this pen is not showing up so clearly, so let's use this one. So I would agree that that's one portion, not there, but from here upwards again. So I would have to give them this purple answer or pink answer that I've got here. So how would I describe it? Let's talk about it. So x would be an element of, how would I give that answer?
I would say if x is from...
Well, it's starting from...
Okay, I'm saying from minus 90.
Yeah, and it's stopping at this point, which was what?
To 45.
That's right. Now, can I include these points? I'm happily including them, and I'm thinking to myself, can I include them? Let's go make sure first of all. I do agree with me that it's between there. Let's go and remind ourselves what the question said. It said that it has to be less than naught. So it didn't say it can equal naught. So therefore, I can't include where it crosses the axis. So that was nearly a mistake of mine. It is less than, less than. Then, where else can I have?
92.
Starting over here, which is 90 degrees. And it's ending over there, which is what? It's halfway between 120 and 150, so it'll be 135 degrees. Now, there's nothing wrong with going this route as well, the interval notation route. But as I say, it's very much a choice of preference. You obviously prefer this style, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a good way of representing your answer. So that would be your answer. And they did ask for this question from minus 90 to 180. So they were talking about the entire graph. So it makes sense. So you see how I'm using color to help myself out, Santi?
Yeah.
It makes a big difference if you do that, because you're dealing only with one aspect then. You're putting your highlighting in, and then you're saying, on that highlighting, I only want this extra detail, namely that it's increasing. And that just helps you to do it a little bit more effectively. So nice question, lots of nice interpretive questions to answer. But more importantly, I've hopefully shown you a way to make it easier for you to actually highlight on your graph.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for a great question, Santi. Stay tuned and keep talking to us.